Welcome back. Now it's time for an update on what's happening with the property market around Australia. Charles, take us through those numbers, starting with national auction clearance rates.
Clearance rates are steady, which we expected would occur because more properties are coming on the market, and Tom and I were talking about that.
Yeah.
People are putting their properties on at higher prices now because of what they're watching.
Yeah, and the vendors are getting greedy, saying that it's booming, so I want to get this reserve.
I'm going to come up with a higher price. So the clearance rate's sitting at 67.4% for the week. Not much different. Last week was 68.3%. The Sydney market was the star again. And that marketplace came in at 76.3%, and Melbourne came in at 69%. So there's movement there. Sydney's always been the one they've talked about, but Adelaide and Canberra actually were in the 50s as well, 51.9 and 52.7 respectively. So, but overall, clearance rates have been starting to level out in the high 60s, early 70s, which I think is a very good marketplace to be in. That's what I think it should be.
Homes advertised for sale.
Now, as Tom said before, he's lots of property on the market, and that's correct in the sense of what he sees on a daily basis or a weekly basis. The report that I bring in each week talks to about what our listing stock is like from this week over last week. So it's down by 5.06%, and last week was down the week before that, only slightly. So the amount of property that's coming on the market in the last week has dropped. So that means that there could be, again, that rise in competition in late December, early New Year when people start getting out into the marketplace.
Yeah, and that reflects, I think, Charles, that we look at our listings in News Limited papers across the country. 2 weeks ago was the peak.
Right,
we now budget and know that we're going to gradually decrease and decrease and decrease.
Exactly, and I'm watching New Zealand, Ingrid, every week at the moment. Their listing numbers have been climbing quite significantly, but Auckland is starting to go backwards in their listing numbers, which means their market could start to get some move on again. I like watching their market. It gives us a good indication, interestingly enough.
Residential rent price movements?
Yeah, they're moving still in a steady pattern. Sydney's at 12.77% on the chart, so it's been flatlining. Like Victoria, it's a 7.06, that's been flatlining, and Perth at 18.25, giving us a 12.69% average for across those three capital cities. Now, I can tell you, when you look at that chart, you'll see that flat line occurring. So people need to start paying attention to that, because tenants are moving out, because tenants are buying properties, which affects the next part of the chart.
Residential vacancy rate. Yep.
Sydney's sitting at 2.44. Best performing capital city. You've got Melbourne at 3.32. Now Perth is the one that we've been watching very closely, been climbing rapidly, 6.23% vacancy rate. Now taking it to all three capital cities, giving us a 4% vacancy rate. I keep saying clearance rate, and I don't know why. Vacancy rate. So Perth is the one that's probably should be concerning most of the investors. Still a good market, but you've got a lot of tenants buying properties off their landlords.
All right, well that does wrap up your property empire. Thanks of course for joining us this evening, and for Tom and Charles for sharing their expert knowledge. Chris Gray will be back in the chair next week. Good night.
The information featured in this program is general in nature and therefore should not be relied upon. Guests appearing on the program may have commercial arrangements with some of the companies mentioned. Before making any investment, insurance or financial planning decisions, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you.